to own it. Just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here. Oh, we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you.
Thank you for coming on my show today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you for inviting me.
You're a man of many talents. And I'm always like amazed at what you do. I saw the singing. I saw the stuff that you do on your play. How long have you been acting?
I really kind of got into it as a kid. I had an aunt who really got me involved and interested in theater when I was 5 years old.
So
she used to take me to Broadway shows. She'd go once a year, so I got hooked then. And then I had a cousin who was the house manager at my hometown theater company. And so I just became this little backstage theater rat. And after a while, they kept feeding me scripts and putting me on stage. And I've done...
So you were just a whatever, you were just a guy that was there initially?
I actually, in middle school, I actually ran sound for a couple of plays. I'm 13 years old, and I'm actually running all the sound cues and everything. So I've always been kind of hooked on it. And then, had the opportunity, moved to Chicago right out of college and studied with Second City Theater.
Oh, that's so good. That's always been my dream. Oh my goodness, you're my hero.
Well, thanks. And then got my Actors Equity card, which is the stage Actors Union.
You grew up here?
Yeah, no. I grew up in Toledo.
You grew up in Toledo. When did you come here? But you've been here for a while.
I've been here for almost 10 years. I moved here in 2014 to become the Director of Communications for the city of Fresno under Ashley Swearingen's administration.
So where were you before that?
I was in Sacramento. I'm a recovering radio talk show host, so I
love the way you put that.
While I was there, though, I had the opportunity to manage the Sacramento Theater Company. So
Toledo and the Chicago here.
Oh, it was Toledo, Chicago, New York, back to Toledo, Detroit, back to Toledo, Sacramento, and then here.
I am so impressed. That is so cool. And so when you were working, I mean, that's a big thing, acting and politics. A lot of people say it's the same, but...
well, I'd say the egos are actually pretty bigger on the political side.
So how did you explain a little bit of the journey?
Well, there's a lot of things that, as you mentioned, just are naturally kind of tied together, that when you're kind of designed to want to be on stage and in front of people, and I've done virtually everything you do. I tried stand-up comedy for a while back in the 80s. And
oh, God, I hope there's some video somewhere.
No.
No.
You don't want to see it.
Hid that.
It's a horrible...
You buried all of that, didn't you?
I did.
Well, they say that you all fail at some point with stand-up.
Yeah.
So,
But the good thing about that is that I realized very quickly that I didn't necessarily want to come up with my own material, that I felt more comfortable taking a script that somebody else has written and bringing that character to life. And so, Chicago, New York, I was there for a couple of years and ended up coming back home, but had many opportunities to work as a professional guest artist at theaters around the Toledo, Detroit area, and then really had a great opportunity to take over my hometown theater company.
That must have been fun, huh?
Yeah,
Going
really
from learning and then bring it back.
Oh, well. And of course I had the history, I had the institutional knowledge. People knew me there, they trusted me, and because I'd worked professionally, now coming back and to be able to kind of shape the future. And they're getting ready. I think they just celebrated their 90th anniversary. They've been around since the early 1930s.
That's so cool.
So it's great to see them continuing on. But I had this great radio offer and came out to Sacramento in 2003, worked there for a dozen years. And then Ashley Swearingen was mayor here. And I was working as a political consultant at the time. To
both? You're doing radio political consulting?
No, not at the same time. No.
When you stop radio, then you...
I have what psychiatrists refer to as ADCD, which is Attention Deficit Career Disorder. So about every 6 years, I'm off doing something else. So very rarely. I was doing radio and managing a theater company at the same time back in Ohio.
And you've always kind of had your like a foot in theater, no matter what job you had. You always did that.
No, I actually, it's probably Don Monroe who also occupies this studio from time to time.
Right.
He and I talked about it once, and I said, I keep trying to. It's like The Godfather 3. I keep trying to get out, and they pull me back in. So, but I got here in 2014, and didn't do any shows for the longest time. And then I got connected with the local theater company. Got to know Dan Pisano and Joel Abels, who was running Stageworks Fresno at the time. And eventually just kind of got back into it. And, I'm at a point in time in my life where I'm not going to have too many roles available to me, so I'm taking whatever they give me. If you give me a role, I'll be there on stage.
I love that. Well, we're really lucky that we have you here in Fresno, such a talent. And what are you working on right now that we can go see?
So this is the award-winning play that was turned into the Academy Award-winning movie, Amadeus. And it's the story of these musical rivals, Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, which everybody knows, but a guy they didn't know, but who was just as real and had, frankly, at that time, even more success while he was alive, Antonio Salieri. And that's the character I play. He was the court composer for Joseph II, who was the Emperor of Austria back during the late 1700s. And, this guy it had a lot of ambition and wanted to be the most famous composer of his age. And he thought he had everything. And then all of a sudden, this young punk comes along who's just an absolute genius. And Salieri starts taking a look at his music and saying, my music is garbage compared to what this kid does.
Wow.
But he's foul-mouthed, he's rude, he's boorish.
No bedside manners at all.
Frankly, he's kind of like a rock star. He's like a Justin Bieber who comes along and everybody falls in love with. And so Salieri spends most of the play plotting how to destroy not only Mozart's career, but eventually his entire livelihood. It's a fascinating
So
play.
instead of mentoring him, he goes the opposite. And I love that.
Pretends to mentor him. Pretends to be his friend.
So you're very diabolical.
Yes.
I love that. I cannot wait to see that.
There's a lot of plotting going on. And what's fascinating about this is that it's the story of the price of two very precious things, fame and genius. And sometimes those don't go hand in hand. Mozart died destitute at a very young age. I think he was 37 when he passed away. And wasn't really recognized as a true genius until much later. Salieri's frustration throughout this entire play is he's the only guy on the planet that understands how brilliant this kid is. But he can't give him any oxygen to try to, so it's a crazy thing. So that obsession with fame, but also the cost of being a true genius and not really having people understand you very well. And then you toss in the fact that at the time, Vienna, which is where most of the story is set, was an absolute gossip festival. So it plays into a lot of what we see nowadays with all of the TikTok videos and the TMZ reports, and you can't trust anybody. And you're paying for information because you want to make sure you know what's being done behind your back, and so many things about what was going on at that time, what was considered
That's
to be
so interesting. I love that.
Translates to
right now.
Today. So, and you'd have cell phones going all the time around these guys.
Well, and that's a common concept too. It's like you worked your whole life to be good at this, and then someone idiot comes in and just swoops all your thunder and just like didn't put any of the work that you put into.
Who my character obviously recognizes immediately. This guy is light years ahead of me. I mean, everything I've done basically compared to what he's written is worthless. It's trash.
Wow.
So how do I deal with that? And
what a great character to play.
Oh no! Well, so the actor that played it on Broadway won the Tony Award for Best Actor. The actor that played Salieri in the movie Amadeus, F. Murray Abraham, won the Academy Award for Best Actor. So it's a great role, and I'm on stage for all but about 3 minutes of the entire play,
I don't know how you do all that, but
well, because here's the thing: people ask all the time, "How do you memorize all those
right.
lines? How do you keep that?" When the writing is brilliant, it's really easy. The lines that I have, and much of it talking directly to the audience at various stages of my life as the play unfolds, it's just so well written that it's easy to remember. And so I don't have any problems at all. When I'm up there, it's go time.
I'm so excited! I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, and again, everything has a historical basis. So the characters that you see and you're introduced to, Mozart's wife Constanza, all of the members of the court, the emperor himself, all these people are part of history, and the fact that Salieri also was rumored to have actually murdered Mozart. That's all part of history too. It was never proven.
Wow.
And so that's what this play kind of takes out.
What do you think? Now that you are Salieri, what do you think?
Well, he didn't.
You don't think? Okay.
No, he didn't. He wasn't. He wasn't that evil. It's just that,
well, it seemed like he was kind of like impressed too. So he kind of wanted to see where the train was going to go.
Oh, he certainly. At the end, he certainly feels pity for Mozart too.
Right.
Because basically, God gave him this instrument.
Right.
But God just kept pressing, and Mozart, in Salieri's mind, couldn't handle the constant pressure.
Right.
Of having to be a genius, and but from my standpoint, the whole premise of the play is it's about the death of Mozart, or as Salieri tells the audience, did I do it? And so you have to kind of wait till you get to the end of the play to figure out whether or not Salieri actually was responsible for Mozart's death.
Well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to give that away when I asked that.
You know what? Again, it's all part of history.
We're still going to want to watch. I mean,
no, it's
everybody wants to watch.
The important thing is, how do we get there?
Right.
Yeah. And what's funny is I always kind of tell people, because I remember I saw an interview on 60 Minutes of Vladimir Horowitz, who is a brilliant pianist, a concert pianist, and somebody asked him about playing music, and he goes, anybody can play the notes. The difference is, how do you get from one note to the other? And that's what determines what genius is. And so for me, it's how do I get from one word to another? How do the other actors on the stage deliver their lines in order to help keep things moving forward?
Because anyone can deliver lines.
But it's a great cast.
Love
We've
that.
got and the director who is just recently finished his tenure as the head of the theater department at Fresno State, J. Daniel Herring, who I've worked with on.
Oh, and he does.
shows.
I've seen a lot of his plays. Yeah, he's really good.
He's got such a brilliant concept for this play, and
I just saw his Misery play.
Yeah,
did you see that? That was yeah. So I'm really excited to see this, and this is cool.
He's just got this concept that it's precise. It moves. It's in the intimate setting of the Second Space Theater, which is kind of catty corner from Roger Rocca's on Olive Avenue in the Tower District. So, you're just right there, and you're kind of enclosed, and we just let her rip.
So what's our time frame? When can we get tickets?
So you can buy tickets now if you go to gcplayers.com. Or you can call the box office at 559-266-0660.
And this runs about middle of February, right?
Yes. So this runs Thursday through Sunday. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday night, Sunday afternoons. And it opens this Friday, and it runs through February the 18th. So it's
perfect. So we have time.
7 weeks. Yeah, you've got time. But we don't want you to wait because, I mean...
Oh, I'm going to get my tickets.
I hate to jinx anything, but my hope is that the people that are coming opening weekend are saying, man, telling all their friends, you got to see the show, and these things tend to fill up. So don't wait till the last minute.
Love that. And I'm going to ask a personal question. You can answer it how you want to, but I mean, because I've been acting, on and off for since I was a teen as well. Not to your level. I mean, like I said, you're my hero. I love all this. But
very kind of you.
I know with theater acting, it's a very small percentage that actually it's ever lucrative. So how has that been in your career? And I know you've always had other things going on. It's always passion, right?
Yeah, well, it is. I can't not be on stage.
Okay.
So that's why when I'm given these opportunities, I'm just not going to turn them down, because
Right.
that's really, honestly, it's the place that I feel the most comfortable. I really feel at home on a stage.
And that's why people keep putting you, because you seem at home.
But I worked professionally, and I worked fairly steadily when I lived in Chicago.
So it was lucrative at one point. You didn't make a career, or
when
no?
you say
really?
lucrative, I mean,
Did you make a career out of it? Like,
no,
were you always had to have a job?
I always had to have a side
There we go.
hustle
Yeah,
of
that's what I thought, and I've
so,
always heard that about theater.
you know,
I'm just always fascinated by it. I know it's like a weird personal question, but I'm always
But
like,
I mean, when you're working, see, that's the thing about, especially if you're a stage actor, you're constantly thinking about what's my next gig.
Right.
It's not like a regular 9-to-5 job that you can hold on to 20, 30, 40 years. It's like, I know I'm, like when I was on, I did the national Broadway tour of Man of La Mancha, and, you know, we were out there for 8 months, but middle of the run, I had to start thinking of, okay, our last gig is in August. What am I doing in September? Because I still got bills back in New York, right? And that was the most lucrative, because, and this is 1984 dollars. Mm-hmm. So this is 40 years ago. But I was making, because I was one of the leads, and my name was actually on the billing itself. So when you see the poster, it's, you know, it says Mark Standriff. But so I was making $1,500 a week plus. Well,
that's actually really good. Even
plus about $600 a week in per diem. So I would live on the per diem and pay for my hotel bills and my meals and everything.
Oh, so they did make you pay for every, okay.
Well, yeah, they took care of the transportation of getting back, you know, to whatever the next city was going to be. But I took the $1,500 and I socked that away. And that's really the only way that I could have afforded to live in New York at the time. But that's about as lucrative as
I'm always fascinated, but I know it's a weird question, but I was like, I just always
I would say I was a full-time professional actor for about 5 years total. But I was there at the worst time on Broadway. It was the mid-'80s, and nothing good was being done in America. Everything was a British import, like Cats, like La Cage aux Folles, like, you know, all that, Les Mis, all of these things were all British imports. So I got out and came back to the Midwest to follow my fiancée, who had been with me in New York, and then she moved back home, and she's kind of like, I miss you. Okay, I'll come back. But I was still able to work as a guest artist professionally. But I didn't have to do it for a living. I could pick and choose the roles that I really wanted to do, and roles that I knew that would be meaningful for me. So that was always a good thing.
So what's a bucket list that we want to cross off that hasn't happened yet?
Well, this is one of them. Although I first did the role as a professional guest artist 35 years ago back in the Detroit area.
Really?
I was only 31, so I was a little young to play Salieri.
Yeah.
So now I feel like I'm kind of like right in the range. But I've been blessed to play some great roles. I just last year played Sir Thomas More in Man for All Seasons. I played Atticus Finch in To Kill a Mockingbird. I played Don Quixote. You know, there's some roles I'd love to do, you know, if the director.
So what's one of them?
Where's my camera here? If the director's watching, I'd love to play Tevye in Fiddler. This is coming up later.
Oh, wow.
So that's a role that I've wanted to do ever since I was like this big. And I saw it on Broadway with Zero Mostel back in the early 60s. So that's bucket list. But, you know, it's kind of hard to say because there's a lot of things. King Lear would be another one. I'm of that age right now that Lear was right in my wheelhouse. But I don't know who's going to do it.
And you said you only have so much time left. I see so many. There's so much left to do.
But even if it's a small role, I don't
right.
care. You know, it's just, you know, let's give me a chance and let me go to work, and I'm happy to do it.
I love that. And you're also a director for Beautify Fresno.
Yes, and that's a great full-time job, best job in town. And I got 4 things to worry about: picking up trash, removing graffiti, planting trees, and painting murals. That's it. And it's always a positive result when I'm finished. So,
I love that. So it just, you know, all of this goes hand in hand.
I don't, like with theater, I don't have to guess whether or not the audience got it. Did they like me? Didn't they? Whatever. I finish with a project or doing a cleanup or whatever, and I know it's good. I know it's done. So that's always very rewarding. And you know, the mayor's vision for making this city a cleaner, greener, more beautiful place to live is.
Does he come and watch you in your plays?
Oh no, he comes out and works.
No, I'm thinking the plays. Does he come and watch your plays?
Oh, you know what? No, he hasn't been yet. I mentioned.
You know, it's funny. I actually saw him at a children's play last year. So
well, it's because one of his kids,
Yeah.
his grandkids, was in it. That's why. I would love for him to come, maybe see this or something else. I don't know. He's a really busy guy, and everybody's constantly saying, "Can you come to this?" If he wants to come see me, I'd make sure he had the free tickets. But
that is good to know when you added that he comes out and works with you guys. I know you guys work hard, and I'm so glad that's.
I see Mayor Dyer constantly, and he's so supportive, and he's got such a heart for making this city a really truly great place to live. That I'm excited. I'm looking forward to seeing if he gets that second term. It looks pretty good right now. So, but I don't knock on like or whatever that is.
I support it. I hope so as well.
Don't want to jinx anything. So.
Thank you so much for coming out today. And can we follow you on Instagram, Facebook, so we can actually keep up with what you're doing?
Sure. Well, it's Mark Standriff, and I'm Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
And you're good at telling us what's happening when you're
Absolutely,
good, because we're going to be following what you do. This is so exciting. I can't wait to see your performance.
Well, good. I can't. And I'll be talking to you. I mean, I'll see. My character talks to everybody in the audience.
Oh, I'm going to be there.
So I will personally point you out.
Thank you so much for coming on my show today.
Again, it was my pleasure. Thank you so much. And I hope I get to do this again soon.
Oh, of course. Coming on my show today.
Thanks so much for having me.
Well, I've heard about your work and I'm really impressed and amazed. What you do is amazing. So tell our viewers what you do.
Gosh, sometimes I say it's hard to encapsulate it and put it into a couple words, but high level, my husband and I have a ranch and we use horses and ranching lifestyle to teach relational health. We focus on communication, trust, and respect. However, really just genuinely, we get a front row seat to what God's doing inside of someone. Because there's something interesting that comes out when you work with a horse of what is inside of you that we can't orchestrate. So probably a couple quick high-level stories on that would be, for example, one of the gals, she was a young girl. She came with her leadership team from from a youth organization for a high school, and she was working one of the horses in the round pen, and she was working the horse, and the horse was she was trying to do it for the horse, and so we just kind of had to stop and regroup, and I'm like, you can't do it for the horse. You have to because we're really working on the horse not being a tool or an object for an agenda, but how do I partner with this horse?
It's like a dance, right?
Yeah,
okay.
To develop relationship and to understand how can I have the best relationship with this horse, which translates over into what are my relationships with people like? What is my relationship with God like? What am I dealing with? And so anyways, going back to the young girl in the round pen, she stopped and she went, "Oh, this is why I hate group projects." And I was like, okay, well, what's the connection there? She's like, I'm always the person that when other people aren't doing their part, I'm doing their part for them. So that's not something you orchestrate or you find out about someone, but that was a pain point in her life, a frustration point in her life at that time. And so through her experience of working with the horse, she was seeing, oh, okay, wait, this is what I'm doing in life.
Wow.
You know, and so that's why I say the horse just brings out whatever we're working on.
Wow.
And
that's interesting.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could all think of some people like that too.
Right. You were either the person that's like, yeah, go ahead, you do the group project, or we're the person that's like, really, I'm doing the group project.
That is so funny, and that's so true. And then you said it's like a ministry for you. So what got you to like, this was your calling? I know you obviously love it. It's not like work for you because you love what you do, but how did it all come together in that fashion?
So I don't think we have time for the long story, so I'll try and give you the Cliff Notes. Okay. But I just felt like God put a whisper in my soul to share what we had been blessed with, which was living in the country, horses, and Jesus. And our girls were super little at the time. And so I just prayed on it for a couple weeks. I went to my husband, I shared it with him, and he was like, yeah, I think we could do something like that. And I went, whoa, time out. You were supposed to be the no, like that's for another season. This isn't the time for this. And so,
what were you guys doing before?
We just had some acreage. We do horses, ranching.
Okay.
I mean, it was a part of who we were.
It's a country life.
Yeah.
Incorporated, so, let's bring people into our world. Okay.
Right. Exactly. And so from there, whenever he said yes, I kind of had a panic moment because I really was expecting that to be a no. And so just had some other women join with us. We prayed about it for 40 days, and it really became neat and sweet during that time.
40 days on purpose.
Yes, very intentional. Okay. Very intentional. And so it became very neat and sweet during that time because instead of my husband, Doug, saying, yeah, that's great for you, I'll support you, God really gave it a vision for all of it. And we currently live on 5 acres. And the vision God gave us was for something greater, a little more of a working ranch, a place where maybe people could come away, get away from the hustle bustle of life, all of those things. And so we said, okay, God, we'll be faithful with little, because it says in Scripture, if you're faithful with little, you'll be faithful with much.
Right.
And we said, where we're at, we can't completely see all of that coming. And so we have just wrapped up our 14th year. And we now are currently located on 160 acres where the ranch is located now. So,
did that really supersede your expectations in a way?
Oh,
like,
yes,
I mean, I'm like, wow.
Yes, exceedingly abundantly more than I could ask or think or imagine. Definitely.
And how many people work on it?
So we have a really small staff of 2 full-time and currently 1 part-time. My husband actually has an additional job. So he's a full-time, we call him the volunteer of the year. But he's able to be a part with his job, a part of all of the daily coming and goings. And then we have an incredible volunteer team. And it really is about a team at the ranch. Even some of the horses' stories, we just share how valuable and important team is. Us as people, we're developed for community. A lot of times I say life would be a lot simpler, a lot more, a lot less rough. I'm losing my words right there.
No, I get it.
But the conflicts and the pain and the things that come with people and relationship, but that's what we're created for, right? God created us for relationship. And so it's through that he brings out things to his glory. So we're just excited to share what he has blessed us with. And that's really just been our heart, is just to share what he's blessed us with through the years and watch it impact people. And, there's some days where I think, really, this is a headache and I don't need to do all of this, make it a something. But on the other hand, when you see what God is doing in someone's life, when something happens in someone's life that you can't orchestrate, and you know that it's just God. We recently had a woman out and we were working on the communication piece with the horses. And I could see just this smile. We call it the smile that comes from within, because you can't stop it. It's just this smile that, when someone's had success, when someone's had an aha moment, they get this smile that comes from within, right?
That is very true.
That they can't stop. And so she has one of those. And so I just asked her, I said, do you mind sharing, or is it too personal? And she's like, no. She said, because the activity kind of took her out of her comfort zone. And so she said, this is the first time in my life that I've been listened to and had success when things were out of my comfort zone. And so it's exciting, it's fascinating, it's really just a front row seat to watch what God is doing. And I could tell you story after story. And so you might have more questions, but or I could just tell you all the stories that come to mind.
So you have a small staff, so everybody watching this is like, oh my God, I want to be a part of that. I want to get a session. How do we go through the process of
contacting us and connecting? So we are on Instagram and Facebook, Abundant Life Ranch. We also have a website that is abundantliferanchca.com. And so you can contact us that way. A lot of what we're doing currently is because our staff is so small.
That's what I was thinking. There has to be some big waiting lists and stuff.
So things have really changed since COVID. And so we're looking to just see where God brings next. But a lot of our appointments are things like that are dependent upon the number of volunteers that we have and who's able to staff it and be a part of it. But a lot of what we do is we come alongside an existing program or group. Doug describes it as we're a piece of their pie. Because it's one thing to sit and discuss working through something. It's something to work through and say, you need to have boundaries, or you need to have confidence, or you need to have trust.
I need all of those things.
Right. I think we all do. That's one of the things we share with our participants is we say, this isn't because we've excelled in this. This is what God is doing in us, and how God is enjoying the journey. I don't know. Maybe you should pick better friends. That's what we say a lot of times. But with that, when you're working with the horse and they're less complicated than working with another human, you get to experience what is it like to have my voice heard? What is it like to be able to have healthy boundaries and know that it's okay, that the relationship isn't broken, that there's actually more respect because of them? It's because sometimes we haven't ever experienced what are healthy boundaries,
Well, when we were growing up, I'm sure in the same age, right, we didn't even know what that word meant.
Right.
No one taught us what boundaries was.
Right, boundaries was the playground.
Right.
You're going to go into the road, so if you're hit by a car, I guess you cross the boundary, right?
Right.
And now it's a buzzword.
Exactly.
So it's really just working and dealing with what's inside of you and allowing the Lord. He speaks so much through his creation. We work with some young girls who come out of human trafficking and
so you work with a lot of groups that do stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we're a piece of their pie. I started to say that earlier. We're a piece of their pie because when you sit and talk through something, it's one thing to think about it. It's another thing to practice it and experience it. And so with them, we're just talking before Christmas break, before the holidays, and just talking about what is their experience out at the ranch like and things like that. And these young girls were just saying part of it is just coming out into the country. It feels like you're out in the middle of nowhere. It's quiet. They said for the first time in their life, when they're out there, their minds are quiet. They're not in survival mode. And that is the work that's happening in their program, being able to come out and be translated into real life. And so there's so many layers. I had no idea when I said, let's share what we've been blessed with.
I bet. I
had no clue. But on the other hand, it simply was us saying yes to what God wanted to do through us. And taking those steps and pushing through and persevering through the challenges that anything that you do in life presents to you, right? And so it's very rewarding and incredible to watch someone come out and say, I'm doing what? No, I don't want to get dirty. Ooh, no, I don't like horses. Oh, no. And then usually those are our staunchest advocates of, no, I want to bring all my family whenever I'm at a program.
That is so funny. I can see how that works.
Yeah.
So, okay, then I have a weird question, because it's like you have a small staff, you do a lot of stuff like that. So an average person like me or somebody that wants to be a part of it, I mean, is there a big waiting list? And then no one wants to take a spot of somebody in that situation. I don't want to take a spot of like somebody that needs it more than I do. So how do we navigate that?
So you can contact us through our website, and then it starts to come down to availability. And so just depends on when schedules can match up and line up. And we've watched that through the years. It's hard to say, not to say yes to everyone. And just be like, oh my goodness, yes, 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 yes. And yet we've watched that the ones who are supposed to be there, everything lines up and works.
And so what kind of volunteers are you looking for at this point?
So we have volunteers that range. We have some that come and do the gardening. We have a whole orchard garden, another whole tangent side piece. We have helpers that come and will help through sessions and kind of go alongside. There's some extensive training that goes into that.
I imagine.
So, if someone's thinking, oh, I might volunteer for that, there is definitely some time commitment on the front side of that. We have people that will bring a meal, because there's a lot that happens around a table, a lot of discussions. So most of our sessions involve a meal. And
there's restaurants and stuff.
A restaurant could send a meal out. I have some people that will either bring a meal out or send a meal out, whether it's something that's catered or it's something that they've cooked, or they have contacts with a restaurant, like what you've said. So there's a variety of ways to make that happen.
So people don't have to really know anything about horses if they want to be involved. You teach.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. And they, I would recommend not being afraid of horses, because that's a real thing.
It's kind of yeah. And maybe some people don't even know they are until they get around.
Exactly.
So, okay.
Exactly. And yet it's exciting to see. We had one participant, she came when she was a young girl. She had been kicked in the face by a horse and lost her teeth.
Oh my goodness.
And so, a lot of what we do, yes, we have a curriculum, yes, we have a design, but it's based on the individual. So working with her was a lot different than working with someone that maybe doesn't have any fear. I would say 95% of our participants have never been around a horse or have very limited horse experience. So,
and all ages? What's the age range that you're looking for?
I feel like our sweetest spot is 10 to 100. We've had women through the program as old as 70. And younger than that, we can't take any younger than 7. But younger than that is just a different experience for them, and a different time. But it really is for everyone, and it's an exciting journey. It's incredibly fascinating to watch the Lord speak to you in a way that you probably weren't expecting.
And how long have you been doing this?
This is the end of our 14th year.
Wow.
Yeah. So we had no idea when we said yes.
And you have children.
Yes.
So they must have had a great experience watching all this. Wow.
Yeah, it started literally, people were in our living room, in our kitchen, at our kitchen table. So it really did start in our home and has just grown through the years and been an incredible journey to watch and just to see. And we always try and encourage people whenever we sit with anyone, speak to anyone, we always just say, take whatever you're passionate about, whatever you've been blessed with, whatever you're excited about, and share it with one other person. You don't need to make it a formal ministry, a formal business, anything like that. Just share it with one other person, because that's how we impact the world, one life at a time.
I love that girl. I love your booth. I love everything about it. This is so awesome. And if we want to donate, because this is largely like
we are volunteer, private,
nonprofit. Like, okay.
Yeah.
So how do we donate to you guys?
So we have a variety of ways that you can donate. We have ways online that you can donate. Our website also has an address that you can send a check to, or sometimes people have in-kind items that they want to donate.
Do you ever have events where you do like fundraising?
We do. So
Okay.
in the spring, we have an online fundraiser for hay. We usually try and do some swag, do something fun like that. And then in the fall, at the end of September, we have our big fundraiser dinner. So those are 2 major events that people can be a part of.
So where do we follow you? Instagram, Facebook is just
Instagram, Facebook, both Abundant Life Ranch.
Abundant Life Ranch on everything. And then you're good at keeping us posted when the fundraisers are and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then our website's abundantliferanchca.com.
Thank you so much for coming on my show today. It's such a pleasure to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you for coming on my show today.
Thank you for having me, Sparkle.
Okay, so you're pretty awesome. You're almost like the dog whisperer. You're like a little Caesar Milan-ish. Tell me how you got started in this.
Well, I've been a volunteer for no-kill shelters since 1995. And when we broke ground with the Valley Animal Center, a lot of the dogs were coming back for bad behavior. And for simple things like jumping up behavior or pulling on the leash, things that can be fixed with a trainer. And I just found that there wasn't a lot of trainers available out there for people, especially private in-home training, which is what I do. I come to your house where the problems are at. I work in your area where you're walking your dog, or work in your backyard where you have the problems with your dog.
Why do you think that is? That there was like a need and it wasn't fulfilled with dogs?
Well, they have like any kind of dog training makes me happy because you're educating yourself on your dog. I mean, but when you go to PetSmart, you're going to a facility, and the thing is there's a lot of distraction. There's a lot of smells, there's people. And if you have a very hyper dog or a very young dog, you can't get focused. It'll get the owner frustrated because you'll have some people in the class, and that's the other thing. It's not one-on-one and specialized. You'll have one person in the class, they just can't get a handle on the dog. They have a bad experience, and they go to a couple sessions and they end up quitting. Versus someone coming in the house and addressing, okay, this is your dog breed, this is your dog, and I can spend more one-on-one time with that one person. We can address all those issues. I can educate them on your dog breed, the body language, management, canine enrichment, of course, along with dog training, which is my passion.
So, a lot of people just wanted to put their dog out there and like, fix them and then make them come back from obedience school and then they're all obedient. So what's wrong with that scenario?
Well, board and train works for some situations, but I'm not really a big fan of it because you really have to teach people how to communicate with their dog. And it also builds their relationship. If you're going to send a dog off for 2 weeks or 4 weeks and drop, $2,000 to $10,000, and then you go to pick up your dog and you get a 2-hour session, well, most of us only retain 20%. You're not going to remember half of it. So when you get back home, the dog's good for a little while, and then they start getting back into their old behaviors habits. Because how we behave is how they behave. So I talk to my clients about that, about their body language and how to handle things differently so that they understand how dogs think.
So what are some of the biggest things that we're doing wrong?
Pulling on the leash. I love seeing, it just makes me laugh. When I saw it this morning, it was so cute. There were like 2 little Malteses walking together and then a Husky. And the little 2 Malteses were in this arm, which was really light for the man. And then he was like this, pulling on so hard in this, because, they're natural pullers. And I felt so bad. And I would have ran out and given my business card, but I was in my PJs. So I'll just wait for him to cross my house again and ask him if he needs some help. But, dogs are natural pullers. So the more we pull, the more they're going to pull. So you really want to teach your dog how to loose leash, walk. And then other things is running out the front door. I mean, so many scary things can happen running out the front door. They could get hit by a car, or, you go running after them and you chase after them and you could fall. And then getting them back. And, the thing is they might be sad when they come back home and look all sad and you're exhausted and you're mad and they give you that sad look. And that's actually a look of appeasement. They had a blast, man. You chased them all the way over the neighborhood with your favorite pair of shoes and finally got them in the house. And there's a better way of handling it when a dog runs out the front door. So you can do it with training, and there's other things you can do. I teach my clients little lazy dog trainer tricks too to help them out. Recall's another one, calling your dog back. You know, how can I get my dog to listen to me? Well, first of all, dogs don't listen to you unless they're looking at you. So, like for example, Spot. Spot is barking at a squirrel in the backyard, and I'm at my slider door. Spot, Spot. Well, first of all, I'm barking just like the dog. The dog is saying, it's doing its job. You know, they need a job. They're saying, why are you here? When are you leaving? Who are you? And the lazy trainer trick you could do is shake a treat bag, because they know that noise and it's always paired with something pleasant. You shake it and the dog makes a choice. Bark, 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 or cookie, cookie, cookie.
So shaking, that's better than talking, because they're not looking at you. And
yeah, well, they know it's also paired with something positive. But the other thing you can do is you can act like an alpha dog, and you just stand up, you walk out in the backyard, you walk right to the fence where the dog is agitated because he's just doing his job, look at it and say, oh, no big deal, and walk right back in. Because that's actually what a pack leader dog does do. He goes and checks it out. And then the other thing is
so
recall.
Don't overreact.
Yeah, and
that's a big one.
Yeah, and then when dogs are barking, the first thing I hear is "shut up, be quiet," you know, because the doorbell rang. A lot of exciting things happen around the front door. So when you yell at your dog and you bark at your dog, it's basically barking with your dog, it just makes it worse. It doesn't help it. And when you get agitated and angry, when they quiet down and give you that sad look, that is a look of appeasement and fear. And that's the other thing, is a lot of people don't realize some of those sad looks they give you, the appeasement looks, is actually out of fear. But sometimes it's to calm you down as well, or to calm themselves down.
Wow. Wow, okay, so that's really interesting to know. And then you said that, dogs don't feel guilt. You have told me that before.
Oh, yes. We have an innate, it's in our DNA too, that it's a survival instinct. You know, it's in our DNA to be born with fear. Guilt is taught. So it's the same thing with a dog. You know, they wake up, it's a survival thing where they're going to get their food, you know, who's going to attack their pack. So it's a survival thing. So guilt is taught. So when people come home and say, like, the dogs decided to do a little canine enrichment because the owners didn't get the appropriate trash can for managing their dogs, and they let them out and about. Oh, the dogs can handle it. So they come home 8 hours later. 2 hours ago, the dogs already got in the trash, had a blast. I mean, had a fabulous time. But, you know, it could be dangerous. There's a lot of things in the trash that they shouldn't be, you know, eating, and there could be some dangerous things happening there. So you definitely want to protect your trash cans and do some management. But when you come home, you're tired, and you see this mess on the floor, and you're like, really? And so the dog senses that. They're very sensitive. You know, that's why we have dogs that can smell out cancer. That's why we have dogs that can smell out epilepsy. You know, they can sense when you're stressed. That's
and they know when
you're
sad.
Yes.
Because I've always felt that, where they come up and like, so that is okay.
Yeah, of course. So so they sense that, and they want to calm you down. And so how they do that is they give you that sad look, and you're like, oh, you know what you did. I know you feel guilty. There's no guilt. Guilt is taught. We learn it as children.
And we can never teach them. They're incapable of learning guilt?
That is a good question that I have never researched, but I will look into it. Thank you for that. Hard question. I don't know if you could teach a dog guilt. They're more animal instinctual. So. But
it's good to know, like, how they're thinking, because I mean, talking to you, I learn of all the million things I've done wrong in my life, which it seems like I go in that direction. And you said, like, everyone kind of goes in a weird direction. What do we mess up on a lot? I mean, you said chasing them out the door. What's our expectation? Why are we so messed up with our expectations?
We humanize our dogs way too much. And the thing is that they're dogs, and we love them, and they seem human sometimes, and they give you those adorable looks. But you really have to respect them and give them the boundaries they need, so they know that you're a pack leader, you know, that you're leading the pack. You can love your dog. You just got to know how to lead your dog. So that's really important. So crate training your dog is huge because dogs are natural cave dwellers. Some people are like, oh no, I need to sleep with my dog. I'm like, okay, that's great.
That was me.
Well, you know, if your dog doesn't have, you know, issues like separation anxiety, you know, fear, aggression, I mean, you know, there's just got to be some boundaries and rules.
So my codependency that I had with my animals is not
Well,
healthy.
you can have your dog in your bed. I mean, I have my dog in my bed occasionally, but this is how it goes. In the morning, I have my cup of coffee with my husband watching the news. Gina gets out of her crate. We let her out of her crate. She gets pottied. And then she sits at the edge of our bed, sitting, waiting for the release to jump on the edge of our bed. So that way we can pet her and spend time with her in the morning while we enjoy our coffee. So I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Because you said we should never sleep with our pet, or there's not a reason to
I'm
sleep
not
with our pet.
sleeping with her. I mean, she's just at the end of the bed visiting me. Or if I'm not feeling well,
Right.
then I want to cuddle with my dog. But to have to sleep with your dog every night, you know, my philosophy is on Amazon, there's body pillows you can cuddle with. There is fake dogs you can cuddle with. I mean, really give them their crate time. The crate allows them to turn off. I mean, they're working all the time and they never get a chance to shut off. So when you stick them in that crate, you're like, okay, honey, your job is done. And you shut that crate, it's nighttime. And they know that that's a safe zone and it's time for rest. Instead, when you leave it open and you let them just have free reign of the house, they never shut off.
So the
They're
crate
always
could
on
be in your
guard.
room? The crate.
Oh, I love the crate in the room. They
Okay.
love to sleep in their with their pack. So yeah, and there's some beautiful crates out there. You know, people are like, I'm not going to put my dog in a cage. We put our babies in a crib that have bars on them.
Right. It's
We
very
put
true.
babies,
You're right. You're
you know,
right.
in X pens. Okay, it's not a harmful thing. And for those dogs that do have a hard time with the crate, then you want to hire a trainer and to desensitize and counter condition that dog to accept that crate, make it a positive experience.
And you train cats as well?
Yes, I do. And I know you have cats. Yes, I do. I don't get a lot of jobs for the cats. Usually problem solving, scratching the furniture, attacking me early in the morning. Occasionally I have people who want to do some, trick training or have
You can get cats to leave you alone in the morning? Like, to stop purring and, like, touching your face in the morning? How do you get them to just stop that? Is that bad, though, or I don't know?
So in the morning you're just getting loved on by your cat.
Yeah, like, that's when they start getting really purry and weird. Every cat I've had has been like that. So is that bad? You said you could train them not to.
Cats sleep like 16 hours a day, and if that's the only time you get your love from them, I mean, they are soft and fuzzy and purry. I mean, I don't mind saying good morning to my cat in the morning, but you know.
Oh, but you said you've trained people not to get attacked.
No, I mean attack when they attack you. Not like when they love on you.
Okay.
It's different, but like when you get up to get your coffee and the cat's like, you know, flat ears, big saucer eyes, ready for the attack, and you've got bare ankles, it hurts.
Yeah.
You know, and they think you're a toy. So we stop that. I teach them how to stop that behavior and redirect it. You know, I talk about management on how to get them to not scratch your furniture by having appropriate cat trees, and then there's also the corrugated boxes that are very inexpensive.
What about when they have all that and they still want to scratch the furniture?
Cats and dogs are both trainable. So this is what I did when I trained my cats not to scratch my furniture and also not jump on my counters. So there's a marker word. It's similar to a clicker. So you could use a clicker to mark the behavior that you want. So like if I wanted you to put your hand down on the
Right here.
On the chair, yes.
Yeah, the arm of the armchair. I got it.
Yes, thank you.
I understand.
And as soon as you did it, I would say yes, or I would click. So that way you would know that's exactly what I want, and then I would follow with a reward.
Okay.
Okay? So with cats, same thing. As long as you let them know what they're doing, which is wrong, so they jump on the counter, I say no, and then I put them on the floor and say yes. So it takes about 50 times of doing this, but then they finally get it and they never get on the counters again. I mean, you can do the motion sensors that blow the air, but it's really not necessary and they're really expensive. Just being consistent with it. The scratching of the furniture, double stick tape. is awesome, and you can buy it off Amazon, and you just put it on the furniture where they're scratching for a good 6 months. There's also stay away spray, but then again, you have to have scratching posts as an alternative.
You have to have. You can't just expect them not to do what they're supposed to do.
Yeah, don't take all the scratching away from them.
I get that.
And say, because as soon as you take that tape off, they're like, oh, well, now I can scratch it. So, and then when you do see them scratch it, you take off their paws, you say no, you take them over to their scratching post, and you say yes. But mind you, I've also paired this word yes, or good girl, or good boy with a treat. And they love temptation.
You have to do something. You can't just
they
not.
have to have some currency.
You have to have a reward.
Yeah, animals need currency. So for dogs, their currency is a walk. Their currency is food, treats, love, play, being led inside from outside of the house. And then cats would be love, treats, food, play.
Okay, so you said that dogs have a job. So do cats have a job as well? And so a dog's job is pretty much to protect? Like what are the jobs that they have in there?
It depends on the breed.
Okay.
They're bred for different things. You got a German Shepherd, a Doberman Pinscher. Those are going to be natural guard dogs.
Okay.
And then you've got the Shih Tzus and then the Malteses. Those are going to be lap dogs. It just depends on the breed.
And what about cats? Do they have a job or they don't have a job?
They're different. So with dogs, with cats, it's kind of like a hierarchy of a triangle. Whenever you get a new cat or an old cat dies off, there's always some tussling going on, so they find their new place. What was your question? I'm sorry.
If they have a job, like what their innate kind of job is.
Yeah, mice, bugs.
Okay. So they're
rodents.
They're a guard of rodents, or not?
Oh yeah. I've had several gifts given to me from my cats. They leave them right at my doorway. It's lovely to wake up to.
Okay, so you said crate training with dogs. What's the deal with cats? Do we have to do that, or we can't sleep with them? Tell me the difference about that a little bit.
So I haven't really researched that so much. I've never had any problems with cats sleeping with people.
Okay.
If it ever became a nuisance, I would recommend crate training.
Because they don't have that same or like you were saying, they don't have that same alpha. They don't have that same mentality.
Yeah, dogs are like
different.
a chessboard. It's a king, and then everybody else is pawns.
Okay.
For cats, it's like the top of the pyramid, and then you've got the queen and the bishops and the knights and the pawns. Or I'm not a chess player, but whatever order that's in.
So I have a new question. Okay, what about animals getting along with each other? Because you said you can do that. Because that's a big problem in a lot of households. And then maybe a cat and a dog not getting along, or two cats not getting along in my situation, two dogs not getting along. How do you train that?
Okay, so it's more of desensitizing, counter conditioning, and pairing positive things with it. But, just because the animals live together, not everybody we meet we like.
Right.
And the same with dogs. So it just is what it is. But in regards to cats and dogs getting along, I mean, you can do things like, I always tell people, change up their scent. So you get out of the shower, you have a nice warm towel with your scent on, go over to the alpha cat and rub up the alpha cat. You're getting your scent on.
We
the
do have
cat.
alpha cats.
Yeah.
You were saying more with dogs we do.
Well, you've got the top pyramid.
Okay.
So
we still have that, yeah.
And then you have the seconds in charge, and the third, and then the bottom. Mm-hmm. But they're always sometimes battling.
No, I was really upset the other day. This broke my heart. I'm still traumatized about Friday night. So Friday night, so my cat sleeps with me 80% of the time. So I came, I was busy, whatever. The cat wasn't there. I kept thinking I was hearing. She makes this paw noise when she wants to come in my room. So I kept opening the door. I don't see her. I open the door. So the next morning, and then I hear the rah, rah. So I'm like, oh my gosh, the cat's freaking attention. Where's the cat? So I'm looking at every door, outside, everywhere. I'm in a frantic. Well, the cat was in the garage. Someone somehow let the cat in the garage. She was there for at least all night. I'm not sure. She wasn't there. She had slept with me the night prior. And I'm we have the other cat. She doesn't two other cats. And usually animals will say hey, the ones out there are supposed to be in here, they usually do that little signal to you, and the other cats did not do that. So how would I train in that situation should that ever happen again for the other cats to signal? I mean, that's an innate thing that every cat and everyone I've talked to said, yeah, a cat, even when the cats don't like each other, they signal when one's in a place they're not supposed to be, usually if they're locked outside or locked in a door. So how would I handle that in the future? It's fresh.
So I'm trying to get the picture. So how many cats do you have in your house?
A total of 4, and then one's outdoor most of the time. They're indoor. They're all indoor, outdoor, but one's mainly outdoor. And it's 2 cats that were
And you know, cats sleep like 16 hours a day.
Okay.
I'm so jealous. I want to be reincarnated as a cat. What you could do, especially since you have multi-cats, they're not getting along. Well, like I said about that shower towel, you rub it on the alpha cat, and then you go over to the lesser cat and you rub it on them. And what you're doing is just changing up the smells. That's one way of doing it to get them the energy to calm down. You can also do the fairway plugins or the fairway collars, which is like a pheromone their mother releases.
Okay.
It kind of calms them, kind of chills them out.
Okay, that's good to know.
Those are nice. They're plugins you could put near their food. The other thing, it depends on how aggressive they are to each other. I mean, if you can get the cat, if you can,
they don't really fight. I mean, there's not like a fighting. They don't like each other. It's just very clear, but they don't do anything weird.
It depends on the thing. I mean, I have one younger cat that likes to chase my other cat. And as soon as she gets up on her perch, he stops the game. But, it does. I mean, they do chase each other. I mean, it can be playful or it can be territorial. But shaking up the scents is one thing. And then also pairing good things. Like, for example, feeding them wet food. Can they all eat wet food in the same area?
Yeah.
And they're happy about that?
Yeah. Fighting over food has not been a thing, but I just want to know how to make those cats normal where they would have signaled to me that my cat was in there. They should have been by the door. Because I'm just I've never even seen cats not do that. It's like they hated her that much. Because I know they don't get along, but usually, like I said, cats that don't like each other still don't do that.
I'm not understanding. Did they kick her outside of the...
No, somehow somebody that came into the garage shut the door, and she was in there all night clawing at the door.
Okay,
and we just didn't
Nobody noticed
and so a cat in there, the other cats that don't like her did not notify me.
Oh, well,
and usually they do that.
Well, yeah, normally they will sit by the door and stare at it.
And by experience, that's always been that way. But they didn't even do that. And so that's why I woke up that next day panicked, hearing her really try to get my attention. Aww. And I'm looking at every door, I'm like, where is she? Where is she? Because I was so that's why I said I'm still traumatized. Oh my God. Because I get scared when I step on the cat. She was around. I get oh my God, I messed up the cat. I love the cat. So,
well, I was also going to talk about creating a cat. Because I have a senior cat that's 20 years old, and he does not do well with the other cats. I mean, he's not physically fit to keep up with them, and if they want to play, he is not happy about it. So at night, because they're very active at night, it's just helpful to put him in a crate. But I put him in a 3-tiered crate. It's a really nice 3-tiered crate. I got it off Amazon. So he's got 2 shelves, one with a heating pad on it because he's a 20-year-old guy. He's got food and water in there. He's got a litter box. And so he's got everything that he needs for the evening. Nice. And then during the day, when I'm home, I can let him out of the crate and he can roam and I can supervise. So if he's getting cornered by one of the cats or he feels uncomfortable with one of the cats, because he's a new addition. I rescued him from a friend recently. I've only had him for a year. So, all the other cats are super young and, they just want to fight for their place. And Butterball, unfortunately, is always thought he's at the top. So he's not liking it too much, but... with the other cats. So that's why we created him and gave him a better sanctuary area away from him where he can see him through my French doors. And then when I'm home, I do let him out. You just supervise it.
So where can we hire you for our services? And how long does it tip? I know everybody's different. It's not like a one size fits all, but what's the average time that you can train anything?
Oh, well, it really,
I know it depends, but what's
it depends on how much work you're going to do.
But you don't take a year to train any animal, right?
Well,
I know you do touch-ups and stuff, but
some people do training that long. Some people choose to do, 3 sessions, 6 sessions, 12 sessions.
Okay.
But the fact is you've got to learn as much as you can from the trainer, and you want to be aware of the trainers that you're hiring. You want to make sure that they're, they have an education, they're certified, because anybody can be a dog trainer.
I know you went through all the work. You went through all the certificates. You have everything.
Yes, and so just do your research.
How long have you been doing this?
10 years.
Yeah.
And just do your research, and then also do your homework. That's really important. I don't bring a magic wand. I don't put a spell on your dog. I teach a dog how to do the command or the cat, and then I teach you how to communicate it with the animal. And then you're going to practice it.
Right.
Because practice makes perfect. Babies don't come out of the womb walking. You know, we don't know our ABCs 1, 2, 3s until we watch Sesame
That makes a lot of
Street.
sense.
Until we watch Sesame Street. Yeah, so it takes time, and it can take a good year to train a dog. And you don't necessarily
But not
need to
often,
keep the trainer.
right?
You don't need to keep the trainer the whole time. You just need to get the skills from the trainer
Right.
and let the trainer critique you to make sure you're doing it correctly.
It takes longer the older the dog. You said when they're the fresher, the easiest, right?
It's the same with people. You know, the older we are,
We can't get a foreign language later in life as we can when we're young. Retain it. I get it.
Yeah, I talked a lot faster, believe it or not, when I was younger. My brain does not work as fast as it used to.
Right.
Yeah, so the older the dog gets, you can teach old dogs new tricks. In fact, I'm potty training a 10-year-old right now.
Well, that's good to know.
Potty training a 10-year-old to ring a doorbell to go outside. It's adorable.
Love it.
He's doing a really good job.
So where do we hire you? How do we hire you?
Oh, okay. So you can find me on Facebook. I'm at Paws and Claws Animal Training. And you want to put the ampersand sign in, because if you type in the word "and," for some reason you can't find me. But I'm also at www.559dogtrainer.com. And my Facebook has a lot more information, just because I've more of a Facebooker. But I am working on my website to add more photos. Yeah, it's really fun. I love teaching people on how to communicate with their dogs. I like when I come back after the first session and they say, "Oh my gosh, it's amazing. The dog is so different." You know, I've had people ooh and ah at the first session, and it makes me feel good in my heart. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." And I'm like, and I look at this one lady was like, and I was like, "Are you okay?" And she's like, "I just can't believe you're getting the dog to listen to you." And I'm like, okay, I'm going to teach you all of this. I don't hold back any secrets. There are no secrets. I will tell you everything I know. I'm an open book.
Right.
I want you to be successful. Your success is my success. I want you to have that dog for the rest of your life and have a successful relationship with that dog and have that be the best dog you ever owned. I don't want to see it going back to the shelter.
Right. Thank you
that we're
so
seeing.
much for coming on my show today. So we are going to get a hold of you. We're going to follow you on everything. So like you said, Paws and Claws, right? Everyone's going to follow Paws and Claws.
Animal training.
Animal training.
Yes.
Thank you so much. And I love looking at the success of the dogs at their graduation day.
Oh, I know. Yes, I get them to pose with the cap and tassel. It's super cute. And the owners love it too, so it's fun.
So everybody call her.
Felt right in the moment, felt right in the summertime. It felt right drinking cherry wine with you. Just wanted to own it, just wanted to take the time, learn all the things that I could about you. Now it's such a mess here, oh we are just stressed here. Used to be so easy with you. Now I must confess here, oh I must confess dear, don't think I'm in love with you. Winter is coming and I don't know what to do, and there's no more use in running, no more running to you. And I don't want your loving, I don't wanna be just friends, knowing all this time